All right. Good morning, everyone. Looks like we are live today. We got Kyle, blue collar landlord, and MJ from Chicago in here. Good morning, fellas.
Morning, good morning.
Morning, morning.
Yeah, how's everything going? Haven't talked to you guys in a while. How's everything? How's the weather, MJ?
It's actually good. It's like 44 degrees. It's raining a lot, but this will be snow if it was colder. So I'll take it. I'll take it.
What about you, Kyle? Why don't you fill everyone where you're at right now?
Yeah, always good, man. Always good. But I'm out here in the Bay Area in Cali, about 45 minutes east of San Francisco. So it's actually raining today, but no chance of snow. So could be worse. So no complaints out here.
Cool. Before we move on, before we kind of get to the topic, I do wanna, since I see him in the chat right now, we have Frank, old guy REI out there, and I want to just say thanks, Frank. I got a package in the mail yesterday, and I want to just kind of show everyone the ORAT one rental at a time shirt that he's selling. Yeah, we got this. We got this on the back right here. And so this is a shirt that he is selling for the event, and we're trying to raise money for the Blind Center to donate for the Blind Center. So I'll put the link for his PayPal link if you haven't purchased it yet. But I think it's a cool shirt, and it's gonna for a good cause. You know, that's where the event's gonna be held at. And yeah, so reach out to Frank if you want more information, and I'll probably show it again as we move on. But there was also something else in the package that, for those of you, I got a little crock here that has ORAT on it. So I don't know where this came from, but if anyone can see this, but this is pretty cool. I hope this isn't supposed to fit me though, Frank. My feet are a little bigger than this, but yeah. So I'll put the links in the chat, and then yeah, thanks, Frank, and we'll talk about it more later. But I think I have a plan to sell more shirts. We'll make it win a date with Lauren. So if anybody didn't tune into yesterday's live, Lauren, I don't know, she had a couple of offers to go on some dates, and she got proposed to. So I don't know if that's going to happen today. But yeah, so today's topic, I saw a video, and I'll put that in the chat also. But it was talking about, there's some articles coming out that for retirement now, people need to save $2.2 million for retirement. And this video was kind of talking about how we're kind of being lied to, or kind of put in a little matrix or trap on thinking or how we approach retirement. So did you guys get a chance to check out that video? What was your guys' thoughts on that? Because you guys are much younger than me. So like, what is your guys' approach, or what are you guys looking at for retirement?
I'll go ahead and lead us off. But yeah, it was an interesting video. I think everyone, pretty much, including myself, I even had a meeting with Coach Carson a few weeks back, and we kind of did a whole financial goal type. This is real estate specific, obviously, but of coming up with a certain number, and it ended up being about 2.2 to 2.6 million. But also on the back end, that's bringing in about 144K of passive income. So that's a set number that I had, you know what I mean? But that's covering my expenses and how I feel I want to live. But um, if you keep your expenses low, man, and you're bringing in 89K, 100K, or even like 60K, you know what I mean, depending on where you live. You got to, at that point, if you have like no mortgage, your expenses are low, you can go pretty far with that. You know, you're not getting taxed much at that time. Um, it was pretty interesting. It made a lot of sense, and I completely agree. I don't think you really got to hit that high of a number if you kind of want to just be financially free, have the freedom, take mini retirements, do what you want to do. I don't see any problem with that if your expenses are low and you're just enjoying life. So
I want to say what's up to Fireman Flip on Instagram. Thanks for stopping by. And I think I'm not sure who this is. First time I'm seeing you in the chat. Is smooth. You put Oreo. I'm not sure what that means. Maybe you meant to type ORAT. I'm not sure, but thanks for stopping by. But like MJ, what about you? Is that kind of your plan? Are you looking to accumulate $2.2 million until you can retire?
Um, I I'm gonna take the contrarian view of this and play devil's advocate, and this is really how I do feel. I feel like um we work hard, we put our head down, we be humble, we be humility, we live below our means while we in the best physical shape we are, the mental capacity we are, and then we told that we got to take it easy and let the throttle down when we retire. I disagree with it. I feel like, you know, obviously this question has got a lot of components to it. Whatever is more of a multiple layer um thought. I think for me, I want to live more comfortably. I don't want to be limited to X things amount a year because I already worked 40, 50 plus years hypothetically. I don't plan on working that long, but I'm just giving the scenario. So I feel like it should be more than 2.2, and I think it's more of a monthly number. I think Dion always talk about this as well. More of a monthly number, like a 15, 20,000 a month versus a one. I don't know with the 2.2. Would that be just a lump sum to what you just live off to do supposedly die, or how would that go exactly? If it's to call it 2.2 million.
I think that the article or what they're kind of pushing out there, I guess maybe in the media, is that you need this much accumulated to live comfortably. So like that's why the video, and I put it in the chat if anyone wants to check it out. But it kind of talks about how it's setting up a lot of people kind of to be put in this matrix where they're having to work longer than maybe they need to, and they're putting money in retirement accounts and trying to hit this certain amount before they can step away from their W-2. But the article or the video also talks about how you're constantly paying fees. It's good for these financial companies and the government because you're putting money in these accounts where people are earning money, they're getting fees off of it. So it's kind of like the longer they can keep you there, right, the more money they're gonna make. So I think, and for a lot of real estate investors, and we were kind of joking about it yesterday too, is if I had to actually save up $2.2 million, right? Like I would never be able to retire because a lot of us that are investing, we don't really have a lot of maybe liquid cash on us available, right? We're constantly reinvesting. I mean, are we able to access money? Yes, possibly. But as far as saving up a certain amount of money, we're constantly redeploying it or putting it in other investments. So that thought of having to get to 2.2, I think that's where it puts a lot of people kind of behind the eight ball, and they're just working a lot longer than they may have to, or they're I don't want to say it's the wrong approach to looking at retirement, but like MJ, you kind of touched on it, right? It's some people are looking at it at an age, right? They once they hit a certain age where you can retire a lot younger if you do a lot of things different. um we have Fireman Flip here. He says he's enjoying, yeah, he's a full-time fireman, newer to real estate. Yeah, man, I see your content out on Instagram. Yeah, we got to connect. Maybe we'll get you on the channel. But he says, how do you guys feel about using your W-2 as a superpower? I think you two guys are great examples of this. So maybe Kyle, why don't you start off on that and talk about your W-2 and how are you using it as a superpower?
Yeah, man. I think W-2 is one of the most powerful things for you in the beginning. That's pretty much how I got started. I've been working blue collar type jobs since right out of high school. So I've always just had a W-2, and that's just it's basically a tool and a fuel and everything I use, and it just goes into investing. So, you keep your expenses low, put your head down, kind of like MJ said, and just kind of get after it. And it's my biggest tool by far. So
I know you're not working today, MJ, so you can talk about work, so
Right,
what
right,
about you?
absolutely.
What about you, man? What is your W-2 and are you using it as a superpower?
Absolutely. I totally agree. That W-2, really looking at it, it gives you the bank look at us like, I'm pretty sure they got the best statisticians, mathematicians on their team. Those people don't lose. They like the casino and the dealership. I mean the dealerships, right? They just always figure out a formula to win, right? But the W-2 is very important because it provides the bank or the people who lending you money, the financial institutions, a peace of mind versus if you was more of an entrepreneurial person or self-employed, because of they know the average Joe, the average person, go stay at their job X amount of years versus somebody trying to start their own business and run into a couple of hiccups and just give up. So the W-2 definitely been able to fuel what I've been trying to do. I've been able to acquire two rental properties from my W-2 work for sure. So I definitely think it's something to use as a momentum to get going and whatever. And then hopefully if you plan right or do things right and buy right over time, you can maybe have options later on in life to where you decide to continue to work your W-2 or decide to just give it up altogether. So
Y- You did kind of mention, like the casino and whatnot. And I know, we had an interview months back, but that was kind of maybe an early chapter in your life, right? As far as gambling and whatnot. Could At that point in your life, do you think you could ever see yourself getting to 2.2 million for retirement?
um with the casinos and the gambling, it's they really do a good job psychologically. I don't want to say preying on the human psychiatry, but it's no watches, it's no windows, it's they give you chips to make you think you got a lower amount than you really got. I mean, this is up to a T. I mean, and they do good. They building casinos left and right. They keep coming out with these apps to platforms to be able to gamble, and it is just so easy. So I mean, in a fantasy world, like Dion say, gambling in general for me, I really realize it's a poor man's tax. It's an extra tax for the poor. They give you these possibilities of you thinking you can win, and it's hard to win consistently in gambling. So to simply answer your question, maybe I would have thought I would have got 2.2 million from gambling, but that was definitely far fetched as I concluded with gambling. So I just gave it all at once, and I just focus more on real estate because it's more guaranteed proceeds, it's more guaranteed profits, and I mean, it's slow as boring, and I just rather ride this wave than trying to do it gambling. So the odds are way out my favor with trying to win 2.2 million in gambling. Some people do it. I mean, those are anomalies. They may be the 1% of gamblers, but I didn't fall in that category apparently.
So Fireman Flip says he likes what you guys are talking about. He sees everyone talking about quitting their W-2 and going into real estate full time. So he loves hearing your guys' story and what you guys are doing and how you guys are leveraging your W-2. So let's before we I see BuzzTune here in the comments. So it's a little bit later in Hawaii because usually I go earlier, but he's actually up, I guess, today. So thanks. But there was a question for you, MJ, from Trade Better 99. He says, MJ, are you going to buy any commercial building at 50% off in Chicago town, possibly?
I just that was that would be an ultimate desire. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to focus on residential, small multifamily. That's just what I learned. That's just what I'm more informative about, more knowledgeable about, and just the financing of commercial real estate kind of turned me off with the ARMs, adjustable rate mortgages versus the 30-year fix. And the buildings that's probably 50% off is probably perfect locations, downtown Chicago, and the price tag is probably out my range for now, right? But I'm not interested in commercial real estate at all. If anything, maybe a 5 unit if I could possibly get residential lending on it. But outside of that, I don't want to do arms and adjustable rate mortgages. I'd rather just get the 30-year fix and just focus on my niche of what I'm doing now.
Yeah, Frank says that's awesome, MJ. Congratulations getting out of the gambling trap. So Kyle, why don't you also maybe talk about your blue collar background? Because I would think, do you have like a pension? You must have a good retirement setup also through that, right?
Yeah, it's actually not as good as it used to be. The old guys, I forget what year it is. They have a really good pension setup. Like they have based off their last 2 or 3 years what they make, they'll make a percentage of that. So you'll kind of see the foreman and other guys just work a shit ton and then kind of retire off a 6 figure number pretty easily now. We don't really get that. We get like a lump sum type thing based on how many years and stuff you've been there. So this is not financial advice, but that's not my goal at all. And I I don't even care about 401 too much. I still put money in and get the match, but I think I have some time on my side to build up on how I'm going to retire in a different way. And I'm all in on that. So I wouldn't say that's for everyone, but um, yeah, I just feel like I have to make my own retirement. So, and I do that through real estate. So I kind of read up my whole 7 year plan, looking to maybe take a little mini vacation or get out of the trade by 35, which is about 7, 8 years from now. So it's just a little bit of a different path for sure, because retirements aren't as good as you used to be. And I don't plan on being there for 30, 40 years. So, and that's kind of how they want you to retire. So,
Yeah, and MJ had a question for you. So I don't know if you saw it in the private chat, but if you're able to maybe clarify, I guess, what field or what is your specific blue collar that you're working in?
yeah, so now I'm with the power company here in the Bay, which is PG&E, which is our main utility. So I'm a apprentice lineman at the moment, But beforehand, right out of high school, I did a whole bunch of random jobs. I think in high school, I worked as an auto body, kind of just as a laborer. Then I jumped in, did landscaping, um, went to school for a little bit, then jumped in, did a little like phone tech thing, which is kind of the lineman for the phone company, and then eventually switched over as a lineman here in the Bay Area. So that's kind of what I do now. And back to the supercharge aspect of W2. Without all that, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at right now. I think it's just such an incredible tool, man, especially if you're willing to put in hours, commute and work a shit ton and kind of actually have a mindset of like there's a way out instead of just most people are really blessed with their job, including me. You know what I mean? And they just get super comfortable and they're like, oh, I love it here. I'll be here 30, 40 years. But you kind of fall into this trap. You know what I mean? And what if you do? You know, COVID, I think, happened. They were kicking people out of jobs if you weren't getting a vaccine. And it just takes one thing like that, one mistake, especially in my field, you could easily be fired. Uh, most people do make it, but there's always something, especially in my field with electricity. If you get a little complacent or you let someone do something they're not supposed to, which let's be honest, people cut corners in every job, right? Once you've been there long enough, but it's an easy way to get fired. You know what I mean? Someone gets hurt, so your 30, 40 years could be cut pretty short unexpectedly.
Yeah, so
But
anyone out there wants to check out Kyle's, he has a YouTube channel, Blue Collar Landlord, and go check him out also on Instagram. It's in the chat. And also, I put Frank, Old Guy REI's channel, so go check him out. He's doing a lot of van confessions. And if you want to know more about the ORAT shirt, but we also have Fire on Fire Investing joining us from Instagram. And then we all Fireman Flip. Also, I know you said you're newer or you're a full-time firefighter, so that's also what I'm in. I guess for me though, and Kyle kind of touched on it, is COVID definitely opened my eyes a lot to how things can change overnight as far as maybe your financial plans or situation. So as great as the fire department is and the pension, like Kyle talked about, I'm on maybe on an older plan. So I do have a great retirement setup. But you also kind of touched on how you kind of get in this trap of just working 30 years and for that pension at the end of the day when maybe you make a few different changes and you have a great career, but you can be done in 15 years, right? And so I think that's what it is. But you still, that W-2 is such a superpower, like you guys are talking about how you can leverage to the banks as far as what your income is and what your stability at your job is. But Kyle, let's see. BuzzTune has a question for you. Was Kyle in the Remote Real Estate Academy seminar? What did he think of it? And because I guess BuzzTune is thinking about joining.
yeah, I'm in the Remote Real Estate Academy. I am a member of that, so I really like it, man. If it's kind of like any other group, there's really good people in there, and it's what you make of it. They have a really good course that I love. I'm still going through it. It's a really long, detailed course. So, but just the connections and everything you get, you can reach out to Aaron. He's one of the head coaches, and anything you need, any hot seat type thing, they'll sit down with you. Any questions you have, it's I really enjoy it. Aaron's a really good coach. They'll get you anything you need, any contacts, and you're looking into an area. If they're there, they'll just one of the guys just handed me his real estate agent, his PM, uh, lenders, and everything right off the bat. So if you're kind of looking at a state like I was, or you're not sure about an area, it's if someone's already established there. I mean, you're kind of just fast forwarding like 10 years of work, going through different managers, PMs, and agents. You always hear about the mistakes people make when they go out of state. Oh, their property manager didn't care, they had problems with it, or your agent. So uh, it's definitely worth it, man. I highly recommend.
You, he was gonna say something, MJ. I thought he was gonna.
Yeah, I was. I was gonna ask Kyle because I'm not familiar too much with the story. So what I'm getting is you in California, close to San Diego, San Francisco. You said you've been doing a couple of
Yeah.
jobs here and there, so you kind of realize what you didn't want to do in life, which is good. I tell people, younger people, just do different jobs, right? Now you're an electrician at alignment, you're apprentice with that, and you invest out of state.
So I invest locally where I live now. I do have one house out of state, which is in Boise. It's in Kuhn, Idaho, which is about 20 minutes outside of Boise. But yeah, I kind of did a local thing. My market was really expensive. I kind of moved 30, 40 minutes away, and bought my first house at 23, and kind of did like the whole house hack
It
thing.
was a single
And
family
then once I
or
kind of realized, yeah, single family
okay.
house. And then once I kind of realized how powerful that was, I dropped everything, man. I had a nice truck. I was kind of falling into the trap of 99% of blue collar guys where you just keep upgrading your lifestyle. But one of the biggest blessings I kind of say at the same time is since I've always been so young working with people that are 30, 40, 50 years older, you kind of start hearing their stories, everything they do, how they have to be at work, and they just keep upgrading their life and they fall into this trap where they have to work 60 hours a week type thing. And I don't know, once I did that house hack, something kind of clicked a little bit. And so I sold my nice truck, drove a horrible car with manual windows and no AC, bought it was a big change, let me tell you. Sold my dirt bike and then bought a house in Boise as my first out of state thing, and just really lowered my lifestyle and kind of just the mindset really changed in those 6 months to a year. So 5 years later, I just keep that rolling. W-2 back to the superpower, and then got 4 single family homes right now, which 3 are out here in Brentwood, Oakley, and then one in Boise, Idaho. So kind of the
Nice, nice.
quick background behind it.
So you got to four, as Zuba always stresses, get to four. And what's your goal now? Do you want to get to 10, or how's it looking for you?
That's where I really started switching around. But I've kind of come up. I don't know if it's more of a number of units or properties type numbers. Now it's kind of switching in to just buying good properties, and kind of wrote up a 7 year goal with Coach Carson. Had a 90-minute conversation with him, which was amazing. Of a goal of like 144K a year. Kind of passive. It's kind of reaching that number, but um, yeah. So it's more just buying good properties. I'm kind of either going out of state, or I'm also looking at a fourplex here in Sacramento, where I think I'm going to jump into my first partnership and kind of do. He's going to live there, so we get the home awk terms on a fourplex, for the 30-year fix, exactly what you were saying. But we're still investors, so he can jump out after a few months. But just getting that home awk loan is kind of the big thing. So I'm still building more of a wealth thing more than cash flow, which comes back to the W-2 being like it's my tool. It's what I do to feed all of this. So
You balance
it's
everything
huge.
out.
Yeah, I work for this. I work for real estate, and I know there's an end game, and I work to support this, and I'm going to make it happen, and it's going to happen. So it's just a time frame till then. So
Okay.
It's funny you touched on like how you changed your living expenses to head down this path, and I think that's kind of what that video about the 2.2 million retirement. It's kind of that how we kind of get trapped into almost living on a budget when we retire, right? So they're telling you to save up this certain amount, get to this certain point, and then when you retire, now it's like you're trying to figure out how much can I live on if I only take this much out per year. And then you're trying to guess I'm going to live 20 years or 30 years after retirement, and now you're like, okay, I have a budget of this much. Where I think if you guys are doing right early on when you're younger, you're making these sacrifices now so that you're not going to have this budget made per se when you do retire, right? You're having cash flow, you're able to increase your cash flow. So I think it's just changing the mindset a little bit on how we look at retirement.
Yeah.
And like even like you touched on, Kyle, it's not right now you're trying to accumulate assets and build the wealth, but then it still comes down to generating certain amount of cash flow yearly or monthly, and that's what you're going to live on. And I think that's a great strategy, and that's what I think, like you say, we're not giving financial advice, but I think if more people look at it that way, right, retirement becomes more attainable at a younger age.
I think it goes
Yeah.
back to what NJ said a little bit too is I mean, just because you hit this certain number, whether it's 60, 150 and passive, like it kind of just more opens up an option to where, okay, that's my baseline. I can live here. But a lot of people that said something like that probably won't stop. It maybe gives you an option for 6 months to a year. It just depends on your age too. You know what I mean? But you can always keep going. I can always get another job. It's that just kind of sets a baseline for you to be comfortable. And if you needed to, you live like that. But I think a lot of people that set a goal like that probably keep going. It's just now they're even more all in on it, or when they work a W 2, it's all that money's going to what they're doing. So it's a little different for everyone. It depends on your age and what you want. If I mean, if you want to be done with that 80 to 100K, you don't need to build up this much, and you could live a really comfortable life depending on where you're at, vacation, travel, and just maybe live a life you haven't done before. Like I haven't traveled a lot. Be cool. Maybe if I'm making 120, I'm like, hey, maybe I'll travel for the first time for a year and kind of maybe I enjoy it, maybe not, and it's kind of a per person thing on that number. But I don't think you have to hit this 2.6 mil number, but kind of based on he explained it. If you're happy with the 6 to 100K with literally no debt, no payments, you're just renting a van, traveling around, enjoying life. It's a good option for a while. You know what I mean? It just brings a different perspective.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of it too is you have to also look at it from where, like we kind of touched on, like COVID, that opened a lot of people's eyes. But, the inflation that happened, the past 4 or 5 years where your money's not going as far. So, like, if you're on, like you're saying, if you're on 80K or 100K a year, now inflation eats into that right now. Do you have the tools to increase the amount of money you're making, right? Or are you just going to have to withdraw more from your savings in a sense? And now that's going to dwindle down quicker. So I think a lot of this is also building the skills to figure out how to generate more income if necessary. So,
Yeah.
like MJ, why don't you? I know you're a lot younger than me, so why don't you kind of remind everyone how old you are, and I guess in your circle, do you see others maybe doing the retirement plan that you're trying to do, or are they in that traditional, putting money in retirement accounts and hoping to hit this certain number by a certain age?
Okay. So the first question, my age, I am 31, about to be 32 on the 5th. So that's next Sunday actually. So 7 days until I'm 32 years old. As far as my circle of friends and family, I think cuz a lot of success comes with luck. A lot of luck comes with preparation and opportunity. I feel like had a lot of opportunity with COVID, and I prepared myself to just want to learn to be open to financial freedom, financial literacy, etc. So I'm a union truck driver. I'm able to drive 9, 10 plus hours a day, and with that, it unlocks uh, another gem to listen to podcasts, people that's successful, people that had their hardships or whatever. And I come across a lot of successful people, even like listening to stories like Michael Jordan. We all know he was the best player ever. He makes way more money off the court than he ever did on the court because he understood his investments, he understood the shoe game, he understood these things, he understood ownership. And I think we need to understand the importance of ownership, whatever that may be. That may could be a business, stocks, crypto, real estate, whatever your niche is. To just simply go to the question, not to go to stare too much off topic. I just think everybody just kind of in a lot of people, not everybody. It's just like in survival mode. They just know, I need to make X amount of dollars to pay this, and that to get me on to the next month. And I think a lot of people don't realize how quick time goes. I remember 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and time waits for nobody. So, I try to tell them and talk to them, and just, but it's like I haven't done it yet, so I really not a per se an example to where it's like, well, what you got to show for what you trying to preach? So it's kind of like, a little back and forth here and there, but I just feel like the best person to go take care of the older you is the younger you, and so you need to put yourself in positions to where you can just have options later on in life. Whether it's like Kyle, he in the high cost of living area, he house hacked the single family home. He it was like a light bulb that clicked for him. Like, man, I can do this. I can see the difference. Then he got a whole bunch of examples, daily examples, where older guys have been in the job 20, 30 years, got families that got married, that's divorced, whatever. I'm assuming, and he just hear these stories like how they could have wished they could have done something better. He just taking advantage and kind of, you know, pinpointing what he can insert his stuff up to make a better example. That's kind of what I do too, is just listen to all these podcasts and interviews and people's story. So I hope I have answered the question. Hopefully I wasn't too long winded, but that's kind of what I want to say.
No, no, I want to just prepare you guys. I see Aaron Wildfire Creations popping in on Instagram. So if he is still
Okay.
there, just ready for some wild comments coming through. But Fireman Flip also mentions the question has to be, what is your main goal of retirement? I think that is like we're talking about, right? We're not saying what we're doing is the right way to do it or what. There's only one way to do it. It's just you have to be maybe open to hearing other ideas or suggestions out there, but definitely it's what your main goal is, like Kyle touched on, right? Like you could depending on where you're retired, you could live a comfortable life at 80K 100K a year, right? And maybe you're not one that wants to travel, so you're not going to be spending a lot of money on traveling. So it really depends what the end goal is.
For you, and as far as Hawaii, and I know it's a high, extremely cost of living area, what would be an appropriate amount, monthly amount, to live on comfortably in retirement for you, or in general,
Oh,
Mark?
funny you say that because I still have it up on my screen. Hold on, I brought this up. So it's from Yahoo Finance. It says if you have $2 million, I guess, saved for retirement, it will last you 19.19 years, and that's with an annual expenditure of $104,000. And it like I said, it kind of just depends, right? Like where inflation is at. What is your living situation? Do you have a paid off home? Do you have a mortgage? Are you planning to travel a lot? But yeah, I mean, it could last you, let's say 20 years, on average. But it's also what kind of life are you going to be living, right? I mean, are you going to be 65, 70 when you retire? I mean, are you really going to have to be able to enjoy the beaches and go surfing and doing all these hikes and whatnot? So it's also what kind of life do you want to have in retirement, right? Um, but hold on, there was MJ, you did touch on it real briefly. You're talking about Michael Jordan being the greatest, and we can debate that on another episode just for fun. But I actually just saw, I was watching something, they were talking about Nike, how Nike is stock price and the value is going down quite a bit. They're losing a lot of money. And you also are talking about ownership. So they're noticing that a lot of athletes are just coming out with their own brands now. They're starting to realize that it's ownership that's where they're going to be making more money. So they're not going through Nike anymore to manufacture their shoes or market their shoes, right? They're coming out with their own, they're building their own brand, they're building their own company, social media. And I think that's another great reminder that ownership is the key to building wealth and getting out of the rat race. Kyle, do you have any thoughts on I mean, we could, like I said, we can still talk real estate and retirement, but MJ, is he the greatest basketball player of all time? Oh, he looked
Ooh, but I grew up a big Kobe fan. Maybe that's just because who I
ah,
who I watched, and that's was me coming up as a kid. So I think that's kind of how it happens. You got MJ, Kobe's a little way out there now, but LeBron just with his longevity, and I don't even know. I haven't watched as much as I used to. Kind of growing away from the sports aspect a little bit. I don't know
yeah.
why, but
No, definitely. I mean, even like like I said, I'm renting out my primary residence now, so
Kobe.
I'm back home. Helping out with my family. My parents are getting old, but even trying to watch Netflix with my dad or find movie like there is nothing to watch nowadays. There's just like crap on TV or there's just nothing
Yeah,
entertaining anymore.
not much for
And
shows either. I don't know.
yeah, it's just weird. Like we're watching stuff like 20, 30 years ago, but there's nothing you can find anymore. But Cameron Self, thanks for stopping by. He says Kobe. He must be on the West Coast, or he must be younger. I think it also depends how old you are and what generation you grew up with. But thanks for
Yeah,
stopping by, man.
who you grew up watching. A lot of black there though, so maybe I'm not too far off.
Oh, Buzz Toon is a Black Mamba fan. Okay.
That's why we got 24 on the end of Blue Collar Landlord. It was kind of a
Oh, is
big
that why?
inspiration as a kid. Yeah, 8 and
Uh,
24 was my sports numbers for every group. Uh,
ah.
so that's kind of what I roll with between those two numbers. So
All right, so I'm gonna put you guys on the spot too. I know Kyle, we kind of talked about it, but Zuber mentioned. I don't know if MJ you heard, but sounds like ticket sales for the ORAD event is down. And he mentioned in the Daily Financial News today that he looks like he's going to be lowering the seat count from 400 to 300. So, are you guys going to be in Vegas?
I haven't bought a ticket yet. I haven't bought anything. Originally, I was going to go. I think I kind of told you not to make him competing, but I got Coach Carson the week before. And like it's either North or South Carolina. So back to back, kind of leaning towards Coach Carson's thing. It's a little smaller group, but we'll see. Like, still might last minute buy a ticket if they're
It's
there.
just
I've been
on
holding
it's
off.
on the way back. You can just
It
stop
is on
by.
the way. That's stay in North Carolina for a week and just hit Vegas on the way out.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. And I don't want to sound like a hater or anything. I'm not surprised that the ticket sales are down. I just feel like people like new and different as far as the location. That definitely has a lot to do with it. And like somebody like me that I'm just able and got a lot of access to listen to Lumberjack and Dion and Millennium Mike so often, so much that where I can almost quote things they say verbatimly. It's like, is and I can, I'm a part of the all-right community. They got live streams. I can super chat and ask a specific question to my situation, have it answered. I mean, just to fly out to Vegas, I've been to Vegas 3 times this year. I mean, you know, I get it, 7, 8 hours, you could network, but it's just like in my specific case, and I'm still learning. I don't know it all. I'm definitely open minded to continue to learn, but you know, I was just planning on buying like the recap, 100, $150 or something. But in my case, I just really need the money and time. Give me X amount of money and time, I can make a deal happen. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so much. It ain't so much more I can learn. I mean, it's still a lot I can learn, but it's just I bought 2 deals. I bought 2 duplexes within a 14, 16 month time frame. I mean, at this point, I kind of got it figured out. I mean, I still listen to them. The one Daily Financial News, Lumberjack come on Thursdays, Dion do his Tuesdays. Listen to that. I'm listening to so much information. I just feel like it's kind of no value because the value is just so available. If that makes sense. So
No, I
I
I,
would.
I think that's the big kind of sentiment or feeling amongst a lot of the maybe regular followers, I guess. I think a lot of people are somewhat in that camp. So yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense. But yeah, hopefully ticket sales can, honestly, I think maybe some people are hoping for a smaller event anyways, right? Like Zuber talked about, 400 would be max capacity, and is it going to be that comfortable, and is it going to be too crowded, is it going to be kind of stuff, so it could work out for the best, right? I mean, I think the smaller event might be better. That's why, like Kyle, you're talking about the Coach Carson one's a little smaller event, and there's going to be
Yeah.
more time to probably connect with people and whatnot. So yeah, great
Yeah.
point, man.
That'd be the only reason I'd kind of. I think MJ hit it on the head, man. Like, I'm not going there to listen to people talk. I can do that on YouTube, and like you hear all the info. It's almost like a paid seminar at that point. Not to hate. I mean, great community and everything. It's just the big group type things. Not really my thing. So if it's a little smaller and it's more networking and meeting some guys in person, you could fly there and kind of it'd be a little easier, but it's a little expensive to kind of go listen to people talk that you kind of already listened to, which some people enjoy it and some people learn better that way. Maybe that's what they want. They feel more engaged, but I'd be going there to more meet you in person, Mark, or meet MJ in person, and maybe
Meet Lauren.
let's head out. Yeah.
Right,
Well,
right.
that might be crowded from after yesterday's chat, so I don't know if I'm getting in there, but
Yeah,
but
MJ. I
yeah,
don't know if you were listening yesterday, but we did a live and Lauren was on, and like I said, man, she there's marriage proposals, and so we're gonna
But
make it.
is it by somebody that she wanted to be by, or what's the? Give me
There
some
were just
context to the story. Give me some
there were just
context.
people in the chats. There was like
on the
three
DMs,
Oh,
right?
people showed up in the chats, and there was like fights going on about. But
There
it
was
was
some.
fun. I mean,
It was a good one yesterday.
yeah, she
If
was a
you
good
learned a
sport
lot.
about it. But Lauren may be in Vegas, so just putting that out there. But we're
whatever
gonna.
happened to what's her name, Sierra? I don't see her or anything no more. What's
Yeah,
today?
Sierra's still doing her thing. You know, she's just dealing with some family stuff, and so she's just taking some time off, and we still keep in touch and just keeping making sure everything's good with her. So she'll be back on whenever she
Okay.
can, and every once in a while. But Lauren, if you guys, like I said, Lauren she took a 1 month vacation that turned into 4 months, and she talked about how it was a good test on her systems, her Airbnb systems in Florida. So being away for 4 months, it was a good way to test her business and see how remote it can be. Special guest with Kyle. Not sure what that means. We got another proposal, maybe for a date proposal. I don't know. But Fireman Flip also says on Instagram, he says taking action is the most important. Too much information is sometimes no information. So yeah, I love that. So Fireman Flip, I know, I'm not sure if you know, will be in Vegas Valentine's Day weekend for the Michael Zuber one rental at a time event. So I forgot what area you are. I see you on social media, but yeah, message me on Instagram or connect with me, and we'll get some stuff together. We'll get some stuff done.
I got a question, another question for Cal. So, could you talk a little bit about the Coach Carson event in South Carolina, North Carolina, the days, what's going to be about, the call, stuff like that?
It's honestly the same idea as the ORAD event for the most part, except for it's in North Carolina. I think it's more of a meetup type thing. I don't think he's having like as many special guests type thing. It seems like more of a connect and he kind of has a preferred hotel where the events are at, so everyone can stay at that hotel at a cheaper price. So kind of everyone together and a little more networking or at least meeting in person, which is kind of what I would go for if I was to go. And I don't know um, as many people in that event. So it'd be kind of cool to see some faces and get up top. It's a little smaller community. I know he maxes out at 300, which I don't think he has 300 in his community versus the ORAT school, which is it's awesome to have more and more people, but that one could be ever growing, right? So
What's the price point?
I think his is 2,500 a year type thing. So it's more expensive, but it's a little different. Um, versus like the ORAD, it's a really cool community. You can reach out, and it's more like a social media type. You can make it as
Right.
good as you want it to be.
Hmm.
The Coach Carson group has a lot of different seminars and accountability and kind of action teams, which is really cool. It's kind of what we were talking about, where instead of having like a meeting and there's 40 people in there and you're like, well, where am I going to jump in on this?
Right.
Um, he has an action team thing that's every quarter, and it's 7 or 8 guys. Uh,
Small, intimate group sessions or
a
whatever.
small, it's a super small accountability, intimate, write down your goals. I just joined, so I actually just got added into the action team, which I'm super stoked for, which is more on my level when you can get 5, 8 guys and just countable. Like MJ, what's up with that property you were talking about? Did you even put an offer type thing? I mean, no
Right.
one's going to shame you, but they're going to be like, well, what's up? You know what I mean? So,
Right.
so that'll be really cool.
Okay.
But so
Interesting.
it's just a little different. You pay more for it, but just the connections and meeting with Coach Carson, you can link up hot seats and everything. So
Okay. Um, Mark, do you know if Zuber or Dion or Lumberjack, if they ever reached out as far as to have an interview or a podcast with Thatch Newen, I never saw like an interview with Thatch as far as with the ORAC community. You know, Thatch, the guy from the Washington State.
I I thought Zuber has done stuff with him. Off the top
Oh,
of my
let's
head,
see.
I'm trying to think that Zuber may have done something with him. Um, yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like I've seen Zuber and him have like an interview or something.
Okay.
But yeah,
If you find it, send it to me because I'm curious. I never seen anything.
yeah, I'm pretty sure they have. But yeah, Thatch is great. I mean, um, I don't know if Zuber has mentioned all the speakers. I'm not sure who. Maybe he has some surprise people coming on. But I know like the Frugal Gay is going to be on. Tom Brickman, he's been on my channel, but Tom is awesome. So Tom is definitely. So when Zuber talks about the person that basically, I don't know if he had a negative net worth like Kyle did, but he basically was selling lingerie or underwear and stuff on eBay, and he worked in the movie theaters. So he had a movie
Oh, he do
theater.
he do he invest in Ohio?
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
So
I see. I
that's
saw
that's
that one. I
that's
saw that one.
yeah. So that's Tom. So Tom's a super good guy. And then not to get all into other stuff, but not only is he so he so he's one of those that he invests in Ohio for the cash flow, but then he also invests in Texas somewhere for the appreciation. So it's kind of like he's investing for the cash flow that he brings that money back and parks it in an area where there's a little bit better appreciation. So, but Tom's a super good guy. Yeah. So Buzztune said he did one way back with Ty. Let's see. And Buzztune must not have drank last night. He's like up and early asking questions. But he said, "Is there any content books podcast you revisit on a yearly basis to start the new year?" Great question.
Mm. You can go ahead, Kyle. I've been kind of talking too much.
Oh, you're good, man. Keep it running. You know, I'm kind of ever evolving with the podcast. That's kind of how I started. So at this point, I listen to a million of them, whether it's YouTube or podcast. But all the basics for real estate, I listen to like Coach Carson. I still listen to Bigger Pockets, David Green. Oh, Brad obviously was probably still watching everything. Uh, Aaron has a podcast that's really good. That's the hybrid real estate professional, which he runs academy himself. Fitness is a huge part in my life. My number one, which gets me going. I listen to Perform by Dr. Andy Galfin, and then there's Huberman, which is always good for a mindset, body, and just all this wealth doesn't mean anything if you don't feel good or if your body can't perform. So I like to throw those in there.
Oh, someone is saying we're too serious. We're not having as much fun. So I'm not sorry. I don't know how to
No one's hitting on us
Rokaya.
in the
Yeah,
chat, so
I'm not sure. I don't want to mispronounce your name, but thank you for stopping by. But yeah, we try to have more fun on this, but um, Lauren's not here, so she's not riling up the audience. But if anyone wants to ask MJ or Kyle out on the date, just put it in the chat and we can see what we can work out.
Right. So to answer
don't
the
count yourself
question
out, bro.
about the content, books, podcasts, I revisit. If it's a really extremely good podcast, book, so I might do it twice, but after two times, I think it's an overload. I'm pretty good with retaining information. Like I said, I drive 9, 10 plus hours a day. I'm able to listen to a lot of podcasts, even on a daily, every day. So I try to just listen to newer and newer stuff, new information, see different perspectives, Sometimes I even compare as far as how common people say the same thing or similar things. Like, hey, the house hacking, you know, leverage my way to wealth, or and it'd be some things like more criticism that people know how to answer better. Like somebody I was listening to one yesterday with Thatch, and somebody asked like he said something like, "Yeah, you house hack one house, you move out, you rent that the second unit out, you do it again." Then I guess the person asked, like, "What if two people move out on you?" He was like, "Well, look, listen, you always in a good position when you're an owner. It's always more. tenants than owners, and that just clicked for me. I'm like, even though it sounds like common sense, just hearing it sometimes, like it goes off above. Like he's right. Like it's almost all depends. It's market specific, of course, but it's always almost more owners than tenants or people that need to rent out places. So
I want to say what's up to Chris. Invest in Lynchburg. He was on the live yesterday, so he knows how much fun we were having. But me or Chris didn't get asked out on the date yesterday. But
send me the link to the live yesterday. I'm gonna watch it right after this one over
dude,
with.
Gotta
yesterday
watch the comment
yesterday was
section.
wild, man. Hey, I got Joe from the fire department stopping by. What's up, man? Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, I mean, I think we're kind of getting a little off topic already, but sticking to the retirement and real estate side of things, I think just being around, like I think both of you kind of touched on it a little bit, right? Like, there's only so much real estate podcasts that you can listen to, and then at some point it kind of starts getting to be the same message in a sense, right? Once you start finding your tribe and you start hearing a lot of the same things over and over. And I think that's why, like, MJ, I see you playing basketball a lot and doing other stuff, and Kyle, like you're saying, fitness, working out. So it's also, after a certain point, and maybe after you get a few rentals, you kind of start branching out and realizing that you're not buying properties every day, and there's always not so it's like you're also finding other interests. And I think, you know as you guys probably notice, there's probably a lot more maybe matrix talk or political talk in a sense from my standpoint on my lives, is just because that's something that I've been going down that rabbit hole a little bit more, right? And it's also like, like the real estate stuff is fun, but I'm starting to realize how the broader vision of things, like the world and the economics and whatnot, affects all of us and how we're going to make decisions. um oh, Chris said you can't hear me on Instagram. Hmm. Interesting. Well, we'll see. Thanks for stopping by, though.
That's a good point you bring up with the politics. I was a person that really didn't want to talk about religion or politics, and I still don't talk about it. But I've been open to listening to more on different sides, to left, to right, and Democratic, Republican, as far as investing, as far as real estate. And it's just like a lot of things kind of make sense, essentially, kind of in a sense, like, for example, just to keep it short and frank, Illinois, Chicago is a big Democratic city, state, or whatever. The bigger New York City, San Francisco, they got certain issues that Republican states just don't have for the most part. It's just like, how coincidental, ironic are these things and issues? But I'm gonna just keep it like that. But like you say, after a couple of years or couple of rentals, it's only so much more you can learn until you gotta do a cash out or whatever. So you start picking interest in other things, and other things start to make sense to you.
Fireman Flip, if you are still on Instagram, you mentioned, I think you meant to put Atomic Habits as a great book. Most people don't have a lack of information. Most people lack the daily discipline. But if you are still on Instagram, can you just put in the comments? Can you hear me on the Instagram side? Because someone on YouTube said they couldn't hear me, but just trying to see if my audio is coming through. BuzzTune says he wants to be fluent in speaking ORAT. Um, so yeah, I think it's a great, like I said, you don't have to get into the weeds or fall into the political trap and all these type of things, right? But it is good to see what people are talking about out there, and like, how things might be inflationary, or how are certain things going to affect interest rates, mortgage rates. Because even like a lot of people, they confuse, when the Fed cuts rates, that they think mortgage rates are just automatically going to come down. But as we're seeing, mortgage rates are going up, even though the Fed's cutting rates. So all of that goes into more like economics and the bigger picture of things, right? So, okay, yeah, it sounds like they can hear me. So Chris, is probably you doing something wrong. Maybe you broke your audio when the Patriots got destroyed yesterday. You broke something on your TV or your speakers or something.
There's no Bears talk in this chat yet.
I know that's a first. That's
I
that's
usually like
great.
being on the other side of this chat too. It's just as fun as being on,
Yeah,
especially when the right
man.
guys jump on.
So MJ, we got to get a new coach
Who
in
are we missing?
Chicago, man. The Bears need a
Right
new
at
coach.
this point, I mean, yeah, for sure, yeah, that could be a new interest.
You guys are
Yeah,
both Chicago fans.
Yeah,
Oh man, we're missing. Who's the guy that always comes in here that's hella funny?
Joe
He usually
V.
gets it.
Yeah, Joe
Joe,
V's a
that's
because Joe
where's Joe at? He needs to get this going. He's got two Bears fans and he's not in
yeah
here.
Joe's in Wisconsin. That's why he's a Packers fan. Well, he was living in Chicago and then he got kicked out and he moved to Wisconsin. So he's a Packers fan.
he flip flopped.
Uh,
Oh, okay, got a flip flopper.
BuzzTune says Atomic Habits work hard on the things that come easy.
I don't
Yeah.
disagree with that, but I think you need to work hard on the things that come hard.
Raiders. Oh my. Okay. This
Yeah.
could be a bot or a troll. Cameron self. You. There is no Raiders fans out there. So this has to
Oh,
be
there's one right here, man. I've been hiding that one from you.
Oh
I've
my!
been
So
talking
you
down on the
can't
Bears,
talk.
so
You cannot talk
I wasn't
any
gonna give
crap.
away my leverage in the chat, but I figured it's about time to come clean. So
Oh
Las
my god!
Vegas Raiders.
we can't
Is they
even
getting the
lose,
number
right,
one
man? We
pick
went from
by any
no,
chance?
we decided to win instead of losing. So now we went from like 2 to 6 or something
Wow.
like
Um,
that. I haven't really watched too many games this year, but maybe if they get a quarterback, I'd watch. But
they do
we're
have a
uh,
good
we're
tight
blowing
end
that
though.
too. We
They do
got a
have a.
tight
They,
end with no one to throw it to him, and he
I
still
know.
gets it done. So
Well, what else do you guys want to talk about? You guys want to talk more retirement? What are you guys working on? I guess right now. What do you guys got planned for 2025?
2025 is, I don't want to say business as usual, but for us, I think we're always locked in kind of, even though we work W-2s and everything, we're always looking at the next project and next property. Like I'm going back and forth between a fourplex locally and then a fourplex out of state. But either way, that's going to happen this year. And with 2025, it seems like rates might stay higher than most people thought. So might give us more of a buy box, kind of maybe I don't want to say distressed sellers because still running into problems with people having super low interest rates that don't really have to sell. You know what I mean? They bought it and refied or bought it in 21 and they'll put it up for a price and it's either going to sell at that price or they'll just pull it off the market. So well, 2025 should be interesting, but always
This has to be your friend. Cameron self has to be your friend. I'm assuming Kyle, but maybe we lost him. He's frozen. Or there, he might be coming back. But MJ, so what do you got planned for 2025? Oh, really? Oh, okay.
2025, I plan on buying a single family house this time around. I plan on rehabbing it. So it'll be my first rehab and my first single family home. So I look forward to doing that 2025.
I think this is for you, Kyle. What criteria for the two fourplexes?
so it depends on which route I go with it, but I guess we'll do the local one. It's not as much of a cash flow play. It's kind of still building some wealth and kind of looking for maybe a distressed seller and a value add fourplex where I'm going to have a partner on this one. So we'll get the home lock loan with a little better interest rate and kind of move in, hopefully work on each unit as we go. Um, and just kind of stabilize it over a few years, hopefully with we'll see what rates do, but like a 3 to 6 year refi plan somewhere in there with that home lock loan and kind of get going in more of a B area. I'm kind of looking long term, something nice. I don't really want to drop into the lower areas where it's higher cash flow. I think that's what my W-2 is for. I mean, I'm not looking to be under three grand, you know what I mean, or a grand. But if it's kind of stabilizes and it's in a good growing area for a long term play where people want to live and it'll always be rented in Sacramento, which is ever growing. That's kind of what we're looking at. Nice B area. Get in with the home lock loan, kind of cost about from here, so I can mob out. We can work on each unit one at a time if needed, and kind of go from
What's the
pray. Uh, and they
I
All
think we
right.
lost them.
Yeah. You can oh, he's in the background. I'll let him back in. But for like you, MJ, I notice are you still trying to go the cash flow route, or are you maybe looking like you're saying more equity plays now?
Yeah, with me, it's gonna continue to be cash flow. That's important, cash flow.
We got Kyle back. Hold on, I'm just moving him around. All right. Cool. Yeah, I think once you start getting a few properties under your belt, I think people start maybe looking at things a little bit differently. I mean, like Zuber says, nobody ever wants an alligator, but I think people are you're still looking for that positive cash flow, but you're also looking for those bigger equity plays or ways to increase value, I guess, in a sense, right?
Yeah. For me, I'm gonna continue to do cash flow for the moment because I know the type of person I am. I'm the type of person, for example, real estate is very illiquid. It's hard to get your money out. So you put 10, 20, 30, 40,000 down, it's pretty much stuck in the property until you take out a second mortgage, a HELOC, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't want to touch the money. So to compensate me, I like the monthly cash flow. That's like a dividend reward for me. So that's why I still want to do the cash flow plays. Maybe I get the cash flow up to a certain number, maybe more long term, mid term. I do more equity plays, appreciation plays. But for right now, to keep focus and keep my momentum going, I need to see the cash flow.
Yeah. So, kind of like I said, talking about retirement again, just what's going on? Oh, hold on. Kyle got bumped off again. Like I said, in Hawaii, that 2 million is supposed to last 19.9 years.
Do you believe that?
Like I said, I mean, it can. It just really depends on, like I said, if you have a paid off
Lifestyle.
house, yeah, if you have a paid off home already, and and that's what they're also. I mean, they're trying to build, I guess, smaller communities in a sense too. And when they talk about Hawaii, it also probably depends what island you're on. On Oahu, which I'm on, is probably going to be the most expensive island to be on. But there's a lot of people that like to retire on the other islands where you're going to have a little bit more. Um, your money's going to go a little bit further in a sense, right?
So you mean to tell me the Pittsburgh cash flow got you living on the most expensive island of Hawaii? Okay, I think Pittsburgh to play.
Someone from Coach Carson's group that knows Aaron reached out to me because Pittsburgh came up in his chat GPT as one of the
Mm.
next markets to start investing in. So he punched in, I guess, like whatever criteria that he was looking for and what he was looking for in the market. And Pittsburgh kind of topped the list. So that's why he wanted to get more information about Pittsburgh. But yeah, a lot of the things I was talking about is kind of what came up on his chat GPT. I think a lot of people, um, I don't, I think Pittsburgh is still kind of under the radar. It hasn't peaked yet. It's still a very affordable market, and it's still one of the last maybe major markets where it's still maybe not as much as before, but almost cheaper to buy still yet than rent. So it still hasn't, I think, got that great appreciation because people are still being able to buy and not just rent. Where once that flips, once where it becomes cheaper to rent than buy, I think a lot of people, the appreciation is going to hit that way.
Yeah, I'm
But
extremely surprised because Pittsburgh got like four national teams. They got the Penguins, they got the Pirates, they got the Steelers. It's just like
yeah,
wow, like
yeah, yeah. So I think and it's becoming a big tech hub and healthcare industry. So I think there's a lot of things moving in that direction, and I think there, I would say probably maybe on that purple spectrum of political views. So they're not too much on the right, not too much on the left. They're kind of right in that middle. So you kind of get that little sweet spot of views there and landlord tenant policies. So yeah, it's a great market. It's just you do have to deal with there is older homes there. The weather is not the most favorable, so those are just some things that you have to factor into it. And for some people that's too much to overlook, right? Or they're gonna so it really comes down to comfort level, I think. And some people investing remotely is not the way to go for them, right? So, but yeah, anything else you guys want to talk? We've been going about an hour. We can. I got nothing else planned, so whatever you guys want to chat about. If you guys got to bounce,
I got plenty of time.
yeah,
Whatever.
any
We're dead,
topic,
you
and we
know.
can go. We can talk about anything already. Then whatever you guys want to talk about. What?
Mm.
Um,
I mean, we could jump back into the financial planning type thing. I don't know
yeah,
what you guys think about 401 and if it's successful or just opinions on that in general since we all work W-2 jobs.
yeah.
Okay, I'll go first. 401k is a scam. Okay.
All right, we're done.
That's it. That's all I was waiting to hear. I couldn't have said
Short,
it better. I
short and
almost started
sweet.
it off with that, but if you're gonna do it, that's even better.
Well, unless you're getting a match, there's definitely no reason to invest in a 401k, in my opinion. I, in the beginning, when I didn't know better, the company did a standard 3% of my check, the deductions to go on my 401k. I stopped it immediately. I just opened up a Fidelity account, and I just bought my company stock. And my main purpose of buying the company stock is to show my lender for real estate purposes of my reserves. And if I want to cash out, have a rainy day, whatever, I can liquidate it with no penalties compared to the 401k. 401k is just a retention thing. Is everybody else get paid more than you? The government, of course, the employer, and you get the last end of the stick. But I just made me a Fidelity account so I got more control and access, and I can show my lender for for my next property. He has some additional reserves too, where they count 50, 60% depending on the lender. So that's my main purpose of having the Fidelity account with my company stocks.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I mean, you pretty much took everything I would have said to a T. It's just your money being locked up till an age of 65, whatever the age limit is, where you can't touch
It's
it.
only 59 and a half.
Is
No,
it either way?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
depending on your age and just it being so locked up and you're constantly paying fees, you aren't even open to the whole market. You're stuck on a plan. I mean, yeah, this isn't financial advice, but I think it's definitely a scam. And I put in just for the match. But when I started too, I did like everyone still tells you, oh, put in 20, 25% when you're young, max out your 401 every year, blah, blah, blah. And then the more you kind of learn about the system and the more you learn about financials in life, you realize it's probably the biggest failed experiment ever. You know, they got rid of pensions, replaced it with 401. And unless you're a super high incomer, most people aren't going to max that out. And by the time you hit 59, like it's crazy the amount of money that people don't have in there. You know what I mean? It's like there's just no way you're going to retire off of it. And me personally, I take loans out every time. Once I pay off a loan, I'll pull out another one. It's only there to pull out a loan and pay myself back and to put in whatever my match is going to be. And that's that. It's another tool at this point. All it is get the match and pull out a loan. At least I'm going to pay myself back in that loan. And like you said, it's a retention thing. You leave and now you got to roll it over, or restart. I've liquidated accounts like crazy. I just not what I'm gonna do. So
Before we get into Chris's question, I believe BuzzTune is liquidating his retirement accounts. So he's going to be making some moves, I think, 2025 with that. But I did want to touch on what Kyle said. I think you said it was a failed plan or failed
failed
system,
experiment once the
failed experiment.
pension started going away in
But
19 something.
was but who was it a failed experiment for?
I think it
Right?
was a
I
failed
think
experiment, yeah, for most W-2 employees, especially when you go through the median income of the United States in general, which I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but if you're making 40, 80K a year, there's no way you're putting 22,000 of that into your 401 over time. And it's just such a minimal thing, and it's money locked up with Wall Street. I think MJ kind of talked this earlier, where your money's just tied up and you're getting the last end of the stick, and people are just making more money on your money with the open market, and it's just another way to feed them, and they hold on to your cash, and you're stuck till you're 59. And imagine being 59, you finally hit it. You're like, okay, let's say you hit a million, which a lot of people don't even get close to that in 401, just depending on what you're able to put in. And the stock market crashes, and now you have 600K, and you've worked 30, 40 years your life just to be at the mercy of the market and the time. You know what I
And
mean?
you planned your retirement on that $1 million supposed to
Yeah,
be income, and now you 400 short.
and it's just
So now you got to
heartbreaking. You
reroute
know
and
what I mean?
redirect your lifestyle.
You probably can't even retire. You know what I mean? It's just heartbreaking to just be solely dependent on a 401k. Obviously, you should have other stuff, but some people don't. You know what I mean? They don't have the extra cash, and just to rely on a 401k to hit that age and something completely out of your control happen with your sole means of retirement. It's not like a pension. You're not guaranteed 100k. You know what I mean? It's whatever you're going to annualize out of that account, and and you're just total mercy of the market. You know what I mean? So
Yep,
Speaking
it
of the
took
pension,
took
oh,
away
go
the
ahead.
liability kind of for the companies, right? So it was a
yeah,
failed experiment, like you're saying, for the workers, but I think it worked out well for the companies and the
that's
government, right? Like you're
that's a
saying,
good point.
there's
Might
fees
have
to
worked
be
great.
paid, right? It's having people work longer. Like you're saying, if the market crashes at the wrong time, you're gonna have people that have to work more, work longer. But MJ, what were you gonna say now?
I was go to the pensions. Cal, you got a pension? Is it a company paid pension?
It's a little different. It's where they just kind of give you a lump sum company paid pension thing based on
So
the
almost like
amount of.
annuity, or it's a pension?
It's a pension, but
So give me an
I haven't
example. How do it
I haven't
go?
overly looked into it. I know it's not amazing. It's nothing like the old one, and I don't look into it too much because there's no way I'm going to be there that long, and I'm making my own retirement. So I don't know the complete details on it. I just know after a certain year, I don't know what the year was, that they're just getting more of a lump sum type pension. So I guess
Okay.
technically that's not really a pension. You know what I mean? Um, but that's what they
Right.
call it. So
Okay. Yeah, I got a
Hey,
company paid pension. It's vested in 5 years, and I don't plan on staying that long to get it or whatever too. So I kind of agree with you. But I was just curious to know more about it.
yeah,
But I mean, we kind of in the same boat then. Okay.
hey, we got Jack Stewart here checking in on Instagram, I see. So go check out Jack's YouTube channel. He's doing a lot of content. He's probably putting something out daily. So he's definitely doing a lot of short content clips on his Driving with Jack. It's a cool series he's doing. The only thing I worry about is keep your eyes on the road, Jack. I don't want you to crash, man. But he
Hit
does
the
drive.
road, Jack.
Yeah.
Don't you come back.
So here's Jack's YouTube channel. I'm putting it in the chat. So go check him out. Go support him. And the thing is, he was on Zuber's channel recently, and like we said, we want to get Jack to a certain amount of subscribers so he can start doing some lives on his Driving with Jack. So this help get him there. But let's get back to Chris's question. He says, "Are the purpose of saving tools like 401k to provide income in retirement? If yes, isn't a cash flow property the same? Also, at the end of 30 years, you get a huge increase in income."
I mean, there's a million ways on planning to retire. I guess you know what I mean. So the problem I have with 401 is just all the fees, and I mean, I guess they're not huge, but it's the money being tied up till you're 59, and if you want to liquidate it, you got to either pay a penalty or you take a loan out yourself. Is about the only other way. If you're doing real estate, which is just my niche, right? If you have 401 on top of a Roth and real estate and crypto and then all your different income, yeah, I mean, it could be fine. I just think for the average W-2 worker not making that much money, it's just not going to be a sufficient amount to retire. And at least with a property, if your value does go up or you're getting loan pay down and everything and you do have some equity, you can move it pretty easily. I mean, obviously real estate's a little harder, but if you can sell a single family home at any time, and if you're living there, you get up married up to what 500k, pretty much tax free, 250 solo. So it's something about me being able to do what I want with my money versus it just rules and guidelines of the 401k and just such a smaller branch that you can even invest into. So kind of the same, but it just you know there's different routes. So
Yeah. Yeah, he pretty much nailed it. Let me reread the question. Purpose saving tools for
if I got that
providing.
right, I think that's what
No,
he was kind of getting at.
Yeah. I think
yeah,
it's more of complementary to other things that you should have. I
Yeah.
don't think it should be a solo investment. If I mean, I think it's better to have that than absolutely nothing. However, I think it should be complementary to other things such as real estate, crypto, businesses, etc. And comparable to a property of 30 years, you put for you your employer take out 30 years worth of fees and whatever for 30 years, and versus you buying a even just one single family or multifamily in 30 years, principal pay down, and if you don't take no money out, you could potentially have that house paid off in a 30-year time frame. That house will appreciate no matter what market it's in. So that's still a better retirement, in my opinion, than a 401k solo. But I think a 401k, if you go use, I think it should be complementary to other things that can provide value and money to you.
Yeah, I just don't think it's complimentary, like you said. It wasn't meant to be a sole retirement thing, even though they took the pension away from most companies. That was a sole retirement and replaced it with 401, where it's just not even close. It kind of makes you got to have different avenues. It just will never work by itself unless you're a really high income earner. But if you are, you're probably maxing out 401, and you probably have you probably already own a house. You probably have that on top. You're probably investing versus median income or lower income. You know, there's no way you're putting 20% in and maxing that out and then over time. And if you're renting the whole time, and it it's just not meant to be a retirement plan like a pension was. So just an add-on.
Yeah, Chris said he's only so many characters he could type, but I guess he means the income of cash flow can start small, then after 30 years, cash flow income goes up, right? So,
Exactly, and that's because of the inflation, and the value is will become more devalued. And so that means it takes more dollars to reach the same thing. So absolutely, and that should be motivation or a perspective for people to get in a cash flowing asset such as real estate. Absolutely.
yeah, I love it. I think this was a great topic conversation. I think because you two guys, Kyle, I forget how old are you again? Are you 30 yet? No, right?
No, not yet, man.
Yeah.
28.
See, so you
That's
guys are
great though,
definitely,
man. So you on
yeah,
the path to retire like at 38, 40, man. That's perfect, bro.
That's what we're going
That's
for, man.
good. That's good.
I go back to the 18, 19, 20-year-old type thing, working with older, real blue collar job type thing where guys were 30,
Getting
40,
that
50, 60
exposure
already.
early, and
It
you
was a
can just
big
kind of.
exposure. You missed the college route. College is great for
Mhm.
some people, but the life experience and reality of the world and how everything's going at a young age, if you could still not pay attention in 18, 19, 20, right? It still took me a few years, but it's like you keep working different jobs and you're running into the same I don't want to say issues, but the same especially in the blue collar
Scenarios.
world scenarios with because they make great money out here in blue collar jobs, but somehow still struggling. And you're like, well, where's it all going? Like, why is this a problem? And then you look and you're like, well, they got the $2 million house, they got the nicest truck in the yard, all of them, because you make good money, but it's everything else is upgraded, and then one simple problem like you hate some kind of divorce or financial thing, and it kind of brings you back down and restarting. So it's just a lot of real world scenarios, problems, and ideologies of what people would do differently. Which, has anyone ever told you they're happy they sold that house? Probably not, especially nowadays. uh, it just clicks and clicks, and you just keep hearing the same thing. So
all right. Well, Jack, you're on Instagram, and yes, I am getting comments on YouTube, so it might be something on your end. He said he's not able to make comments, but yeah, this was always a great episode. And next time, maybe we can talk more about like you kind of were touching on blue collar stuff and like MJ.
that'll be fun.
Remind me again. Did you go to college? Did you get a degree?
High school diploma, no debt.
Yeah. So
All my
you
debt has been
It's the
serviced
best
by
way
my
to go.
tenants.
and you are making. I'm
Best
pretty
way to go.
sure you work for a trucking company. So I'm sure. Or
UPS, the best
okay,
trucking
I didn't.
job.
I
When
didn't
you
want to
go
say
drive a
it,
truck,
but
it's okay. United Parcel Service. What can Brown do for you? Absolutely.
right. So both of you are great examples of not going the college route, and I think there's a big push for that now, right? Like you see it on X and social media. Even Zuber talks about it a lot. Is the trades and these type of different jobs coming out, and you can start off 20 years old making six figures in a sense, right?
Yeah,
And no
easily.
college debt and whatnot. So I think there's a big push for that. But I'm also going to put the link for the T-shirt one last time, and I'll show it again. So if you haven't bought the shirt, go check it out. Help support the cause, and let's try to get to the amount that Frank's trying to get to donate to the Blind Center, so that we can hold on. There we go. So let's go. So I'll show it one last time. I got my ORAT shirt here. So go check it out with the ORAT logo on the front, and then the dream catcher on the back. So
And
this is,
with the Croc shoe, is that a keychain? You said the Croc
yeah,
shoe,
he
or is
gave
that
me
just a
a
straight?
Croc shoe. Yeah, and it has ORAT on it too. Yeah. So
Good job,
That's
Frank.
and
unique.
this
I
You
like
this
nailed
does
that.
it.
I
this
like
does
that.
not fit me. I just want to reiterate, this does not
How
fit
much
me.
do that cost? Both items. How much do they cost?
I don't know how much the Croc costs, but the shirt is $30. That includes shipping, and
Okay.
$10 goes to the Blind Center. So the goal was to sell 100 shirts and donate $1,000 to the Blind Center.
Has he reached
Okay.
that?
Not yet. So go pick up your shirt now, and then we can hit that goal. And it also comes with a date with Lauren. So it's you're entered
Oh
into a
boy,
raffle.
White Lightning's gonna buy them
I know.
all. White Lightning and Rob, whatever 420 are gonna buy the rest in stock, Frank. So you better get it up.
Yeah. So Lauren will be back next week, so you guys can all tune back in. Uh, but this was a good one. This was always fun. Like I said, I'm glad I got two gentlemen that are a lot younger than me and are, you know, entering the game a lot earlier and heading down this path of retirement, and have a different view, I guess, in a sense, because you probably didn't get into as much bad habits as I did at a younger age, and heading into that, kind of retirement mindset. So it was great to get your guys' thoughts on it.
Absolutely.
All right, so we'll get you guys back. And MJ, great job being centered on the camera today, so I can put more So I'm always having a hard time putting your content out because your face is always cut off. But now we got. Oh, I'll buy a date with Kyle McKenna Cristiano. Okay, I'm not sure. So Kyle, go find that person on social media, and
Giving Lauren some competition on the dating app.
yeah.
I'm on the
Do
come
you
up.
know who that is? You can be on it. Do you know who that?
Never heard of her.
Oh, okay. Well,
No, I'm just kidding. That's
uh,
my girlfriend.
oh, okay, okay.
She's probably lying, but
All right. Well, incog. Okay. Well, all these people popping in now, but thanks everyone for stopping by. This was a fun one, and we'll do this again. Have a great weekend, everyone. What's up, man? Are you still there?
yeah, I'm still here.
All right, cool. Hold on, I'm trying to.
Yeah, it says you're still live. I don't think it popped up on
I
my.
I ended the stream,
I
but
don't
I'm
think
trying to.
Restream worked on my shit, but I don't
There
know. It
we
was all
go.
right.
There we go. I ended it on Instagram. I guess I got to do Instagram one separate to end it.
That still says you're live, unless I'm live. But I don't think that.
What is a financial firefighter? Do you throw money at fires? I don't think I can comment back already. Let me see. Oh yeah, it's done
My
already.
thing still says live. Is yours
Oh,
done?
your channel might still be. You might have to end. I
I
don't
didn't
know.
even see it pop up on any of my stuff.
Hmm.
You